Okay, 4-6, one-step division, inequalities. Here it is, page 117. Not really a lot to say, to be honest with you. Number 3, I'm not going to write a Q. I'm just going to write an N. So there we are. Remember, with this negative symbol here, either everything in the fraction's negative or everything's positive. It can't be half negative, half positive. That's not really how it works. So they occasionally will move that negative symbol around on you there. But same rule applies as yesterday with the multiplying. I think we covered it. If you multiply or divide by a negative value, then we need to flip the inequality to make it true. So this is exactly the same today. Don't get confused by just any negative symbol, of course, being a flip. It's dependent on multiplying or negative by a negative. And we should be able to see right here, what am I doing to n? Well, I'm dividing it by 7/10 or negative 7/10. How do I undo dividing by negative 7/10? I would multiply by both sides by that negative 7/10. Ultimately, then this negative and this negative cancel out. These two negatives make your n positive. You can do your flip right now if you want, but you're going to have to flip the inequality. It was greater than or equal to. Now it's less than or equal to. Negative times a negative is a positive. 9.3 times 0.7 equals 6.51. Positive. And that would be our solution right there. So the first ones here, just like today, 2, 4, 6, 8, they want a graph. So if I was graphing this, again, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to write 6, 7, 8. So I'd probably just put my 6, 5, 1 there. Over here I can be 6.5, or you can put a 0 if you want. Think like 651. So I need 650 before, 652 after. This would be a good graph, I would think, for this. And then shade it in, closed circle, representing values less than. So that's really about it. Just one-step equations here today with your calculator. Shouldn't be too hard. Biggest thing, and you guys did really well yesterday with it, and you did well on your homework too. It's just making sure that you do the flip when you need to do it. If we multiply or divide by a negative value, you must flip the inequality to make it true. That's really about it. So some of these get a little crazy, I will tell you that right now. So if you guys want to try this one, let me give it a shot. So 12 is greater than 1 and 1/6 b minus b. Some of these are a little interesting. at something?
Is it 2 greater than B?
Nope, not 2. Nick?
72 greater than B.
Right, 72. Good. So with this one here, remember there's a hidden value here. This is actually 1b. It's not written in there. So our first thing we want to do is combine these two terms here. So 1 and 1/6, subtract 1. I think 0, 6, 1, 6, it's just 1/6. So I'm left with 12 is greater than 1/6b. And then again, we can use our knowledge of reciprocals here. What am I doing to b? Well, I'm multiplying it by 1/6. How do I do that? I divide by 1/6. But dividing by 1/6 is the same thing as multiplying by 6. So all I would want to do at this point here is multiply both sides by 6. Because 1/6 times 6, boom, those cancel out. All I'm left with is my b over here. And on the other side, I got 12 times 6. And there's my solution. If I want to redo it this way, I ask for a graph. So 71, 72, 73, open circle, shading to the left, representing values less than 72, less than 72. So combined like terms has returned. Going through this, and then again, multiplying by the reciprocal is very helpful with fractions. It could have been 3 over 2. Well, then I just multiply by 2 over 3. I just flip it around here when I got fractions. And again, you can certainly set it up this way too. I'm not saying you can't. If it's easier, if you're like, well, I'm multiplying by 1/6, I better just divide both sides by 1/6. And then I'm left with 12 divided by 1/6, but then rewrite it as a multiplying. And you'll end up with 72 that way too. So if you're more comfortable just setting it up this way, where you're dividing instead of multiplying by the reciprocal, fine, both are okay. Both of them will lead you to the same answer here. But at some point or another, you're coming to this step right here, whether you do it up here or you do it down here, you'll be multiplying 12 times 6 before it's said and done. You must have divided by 6.
Yeah, dividing 6 and 12.
Right. And that would have been correct if it would have been this problem. 12 is greater than 6b. Is what you just essentially solved, because then what am I doing to b? Divide both sides by 6, and that would give you that, if that was the problem right there. Make sense? Okay. All right, number 7, go. Try that one. I'm not going to use S, I'll call it V. V over 10. Greater than or equal to -3 times the sum of 10 plus 1. Solve that problem in the brackets there, take my answer, multiply it by -3, and then finish it off. Oh, door's locked? Okay. Normally by this time of the day I realize the door is locked.
Did this medicine give you Ryan's Winter? Yep. There you go. There's the book that goes with it. Oh, she got the book. She's ahead of.
Okay. Anybody got an answer?
I haven't do any stuff. I times 3 by 10 and times 3 by 1. I did, yeah, so,
You did the distribute?
yeah, so I think that we're not supposed to do that.
No, you could do that. What do you get then on the other right side for a solution or a number over here?
Or you get 30 and plus 3, then it'll be 33.
Yep, you would have negative 30 plus negative 3 equals negative 33. Using your 3 times positive 10 plus negative 3 times positive 1, which works. Is that how you did it, Nick? Me either. So the way I saw it here is instead of using distributing, and you will get to use a lot of distributing in chapter 5, I promise you that. So, but I can just add 10 plus 1, which is 11, right? And then 11 times negative 3 is also negative 33. So both of them, if you get to negative 33, I like how you did it. So, and then what's the last move I need to do to bring it home?
Multiply 10.
Right. So what am I doing to v? Dividing by 10. How do I undo that? Multiply both sides by 10. V negative 330. Flip. Or no? No. Right. No flip because I multiplied by a positive 10. As always, don't get thrown off by seeing a negative. It's all about what happens to on this side. Whatever I multiply or divide by determines if I flip or not. And I could graph it if I wanted, but I really don't. So, let's try number 11. We can just do 3 more. So 11, this one should be pretty straightforward, I think. F over negative 5 and 2/10 is less than or equal to 6 and 5/10. All right, Cord, you want it?
F, then F less than or equal to 33.8.
Negative 33.8. And then we'd have to flip because we multiplied both sides by this negative 5.2. If it was a positive 5.2, you were spot on. But it was a negative 5.2, so that means sign's going to flip on this side. Inequality needs to flip too. F is greater than or equal to negative 33.8. So if it was positive 5.2, you were perfect. Negative 5.2, negative outcome, and flip the inequality. All right, last two. So both of these are a bit more challenging. And it'll kind of draw you back to something we did the last chapter here. So I'll give you a moment. feel so inclined. So, I guess what am I doing to D? By? By?
Oh, negative.
Negative 8, right. So how do I undo this? What am I doing to D?
Dividing and you multiply
By?
by, we multiply by, we multiply, eight, or, we multiply by eight and,
Negative 8.
I mean,
Even the negatives aren't friends, are you? Okay, right, because what am I doing to D? Again, don't get mystified. If it was like this, it would probably be a little easier. Or if they moved the, who knows where they could have it down here. They could put it over here. They switch it around on us. But remember, the whole thing's negative. That is a negative 8 going on there. And again, it looks a little weird because I got this fraction thing going on here. But either way, we need to multiply both sides by that negative 8. That cancels out. Inequality is going to flip. Now on the other side here with this fraction, one thing you can do here, because if you, well, 42 thirds turns into a whole number anyway. But we'll get into this in some of the future chapters too, about a better way to punch this into your calculator. But what I tend to do is, again, some of these get a little more intensive here, is all you need to do is multiply all your numerators together, multiply all your denominators together, and then merely divide. So I go 42 times 8 is 336 on top. And then on the bottom I have 3 times 1, which is just 3. And then go ahead and simplify. Any fraction is just a representation of a division problem. 336 divided by 3, 112.
Good afternoon, St. Francis. Can the following students please report for the bus? Charlotte Navarro,
And that's all there is to it right there. So, all right, 15, last one here. Where can I write? I'll write over here on this. All right, 15's challenging. Negative 11 minus 2 is greater than 1 and 1/9 e minus e over 9. This is our last problem we're going to do, and we're done. So. So for this one here, well, you guys are trying something, so I guess I'll be quiet. Anybody think they got it? Yeah, what do you got?
I got 117 greater than E.
That's what the book had,
Oh, really?
but then the book was wrong.
Oh.
Nick? So here's how this one works. Again, this is a strange problem here. So I agree on the right side, did we both come up with negative 13? So over here, what we need to do is we got to combine these terms together. But this is difficult to combine with this. How it is right now, it's not in a good form. So our move would be to get rid of this fraction here. We want it gone. So what I want to do is I want to basically turn this into an improper fraction. So both of them have a denominator. And then I want to multiply by the common denominator to turn it into a whole number. So 1 1/9 e. If I write 1 1/9 as an improper fraction, what do I have? What's 1 1/9 as an improper fraction?
10 of them.
Right. I have 10/9 e, and then I'm still subtracting e over 9. And I do that now because now I have both I have a denominator on both, and I kind of did in the first place, but I can't multiply this unless it's in mixed number improper fraction form, I mean. So then what's the common denominator here? 9. So I need to multiply both sides by 9. And what happens here is all three of these terms get multiplied by 9, so these 9s cross out, and now I'm just left with 10e over here. These 9s cross out, and I'm just left with e over here. And then on this side here, I still have my negative 13. So, or no, I don't, because I multiply by 9, my bad. 13 times 9, negative 117. Well, I haven't gotten to that point yet. Whoops. Sorry. That's coming next. Shouldn't do that yet. So, my whole objective here was to try and clean this whole thing up because this is too difficult. We don't have the ability to combine these. They're not in the same form at all. So we practiced this technique last chapter. Remember that one day where we had to multiply everything by the decimal, 10, 100, or 1,000 slide decimals, or we figured out great. I marked one on your test. Use the greatest common factor method. Remember that? Well, this one, we pretty much have to use that method here because we need to get to this level here. And without multiplying by 9, you're not going to do it. It's just not possible. So from this point on, now it should be pretty easy. We need to combine the like terms. This is, of course, a hidden 1 here. So I still have negative 13 over here. 10e minus 1e is just 9e. Oh, man, what am I doing here? All right, no, multiply this by 9 too. 9 times, man, negative 137 is what I should have over here. Because I multiplied this side by 9. 9 times negative 13 is negative 137. There we go. Now I should have negative. I don't know why I have it all right here in front of me too. So, yeah, see, there's the book. See, they had that 117, but. So then here we are. Now finish it off. Divide both sides by 9. Negative 137 divided by 9 is negative 13 greater than e, or e is less than negative 13. So definitely a more challenging problem, no doubt about it here. For better or worse, we'll see more of these types of problems later on this chapter. Because we're going to do it all with the grouping and variables on both sides and all that stuff is coming again here in a little bit, but that's about it. So, any questions? You guys seem you're in pretty good shape, so you're kind of fuzzy with your negatives, but again, I don't hold that against you too much usually. I try and meet you in the middle on that, so. I don't know. I think you guys are good. Feel good. Good?